Hello and welcome to another webinar with us at the Accountants Mastermind. Today I'm going to be joined by Sam George from TaxDome. TaxDome are a practice management system to improve your efficiencies within your practice, help you save time and make more money. TaxDome has been around for quite a while now, which Sam will talk to you about, based in America and now spreading their wings to Australia and also areas of Europe. It was about a year ago that we last talked to Sam, so I'm really excited to hear about the improvements and changes within TaxDome. So say hello, Sam.
Hi.
Let's get started. Welcome, Sam, and a virtual round of applause for Sam.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Mark, and thank you very much to everyone who's joining to the presentation and webinar today. As Mark mentioned, we had a webinar with the Accountants Mastermind last year. So this time I really want to recap how TaxDome can help you as a practice streamline your processes, save time, and to also pay a little bit of attention to some of the updates that have come to TaxDome in that time. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen. I have a short presentation to begin with, and then we'll begin with the live software demonstration. So TaxDome is a practice management platform that is fully cloud-based. And in my personal opinion, what sets us apart from the other practice management solutions in the market is our workflow automation platform, which is fully customizable and it allows you to create repeatable and predictable processes for your clients. So keeping in mind of the reiterating what TaxDome is, we're going to firstly start off by looking at what features TaxDome includes. So we talked a bit already about the workflow automation platform, which we'll go into more depth later on my demo account. And I really want to get across this idea of customization because I think a lot of the workflow platforms out there have perhaps somewhat limited options when creating fully customizable processes. But with TaxDome, you can create as many stages as you like, incorporate different automations into those stages. You've got 10 different automations to choose from, and we'll take a look at some key features that will really help you manage those jobs throughout the process. Also, client portal is really important for accounting firms, giving your clients a professional experience and a user-friendly portal that they can engage with you, reach out via chat if they have any questions, book an appointment if they'd like to discuss some of your other services. We'll also see how the automations in the workflow platform will be sent directly to that client portal where your clients can then complete them. We also have an integrated CRM, which is where you can apply a lot of your bulk actions. It's also really important to store all of your client data into one software so it's conveniently kept and then you can access it in any way or any time that's convenient for you too. Document management, we have unlimited document storage on TaxDome, and we also have an additional TaxDome drive that facilitates that import of your documents into the software. So that's really helpful in that onboarding process because it can really help narrow the time it takes to really set up your TaxDome account and get going. We have a really useful email sync feature. We do offer different communication channels on TaxDome, obviously email being one. We also have chats that we'll take a look at later on, and coming to TaxDome in the near future is also SMS, which we're really excited about. But more specifically, regarding the email sync, this allows you to streamline all your email communications through TaxDome, so you don't have to go from tab to tab to respond to your clients. You can both send and receive emails directly from your portal. I'll just talk about some other features here before moving on, because I really want to get to the software demonstration. We have invoicing on TaxDome that integrates with Stripe, and in comparison to our last webinar, we've introduced recurring invoicing on TaxDome. We've also made improvements to our engagement letters. They were known as contracts before, and I believe I demonstrated what the contract looked like. It was a long engagement letter, but now with our new proposal feature, you can include an introduction with images and videos, helping to make it a really user-friendly and professional experience for your clients again. You can also link those invoices and payment plans into those engagement letters, which make it really useful for setting up new clients. Obviously, some other key features include time tracking, organizers, which are essentially digital forms that we use to request important documents and information. We'll also take a look at that when we go through the workflow platform later. So what is new to TaxDome? What has changed since our last webinar? Well, in the next quarter, we're really excited about our company's house integration. What that's essentially going to do is it's going to pull in all the data from the company's house API for things like PSCs, deadlines, information about the companies, and it's going to populate your CRM with that data. So as I mentioned, we're really excited for that, and that's coming to TaxDome in the near future because we want to show our commitment to the UK market as well. As I mentioned previously too, we have a new proposal and engagement letter platform, which, as I mentioned, has the payment plan included in that and allows you to incorporate those images and videos too. So it looks really professional in my opinion. I'm really excited to show you that. Also, invoicing improvements, that's the key part of any accounting practice, obviously getting paid. We can incorporate any invoices into the workflow, but in relation to the last webinar, we've incorporated this new recurring invoicing procedure on TaxDome. Other platform improvements like the UX, we've really been working on that a lot to make it easy for you to navigate around the platform. And hopefully in this demonstration today, I'm going to go into great depths to show you how you can really save time and access the information you need with just a couple of clicks. Also, to assist you and facilitate that onboarding process, we've been working on our pipeline library. Pipelines is really a synonym that we use for workflows. So when starting your TaxDome account, obviously it could be quite challenging to learn about all the new features because we're an all-in-one practice management software company. So again, to really help you get started and really get your foot in the door, you have 13 templates that you can copy directly into your own library. Then you can really just edit the wording in the templates for tasks and emails to align it to how you want to come across in your firm. So obviously we're talking a lot about features, but what value is TaxDome bringing you? I want to talk briefly about the pain points and some key pain points that TaxDome is going to help you overcome. We were exhibiting Accountancy Manchester just last week, and a lot of people who we spoke to were looking for software that can help automate large parts of their practice for admin work, emails, reminders, and really automating services altogether. And that's what TaxDome is going to bring you. As I mentioned, we will go through in depth a workflow process to show you the features specifically that will allow you to save time and use that elsewhere in your practice to add more value. Obviously, having a centralized platform and keeping everything together is really important for you too, helping you stay organized and offer your clients a better experience on their end. A professional user-friendly client portal, I included this because I think a lot of the time we forget about our clients. We're very focused on the services, ourselves, and how we do our work. But our clients are a massive part of that too. And we get probably the majority of our good feedback, great feedback about our client portal because it's really user-friendly. It's really organized. They have a navigation bar where they can access the different sections of their account. So again, we'll go into that into the demonstration later on. Obviously, with onboarding, we want to make you feel supported and we want to reassure you and let you know that we're there every step of the way. So with TaxDome, you get free and unlimited support. I'll just talk about some of the channels quickly. You can book onboardings, which are video sessions similar to this, where we can hop in a call with you, help you prepare your workflows, help you customize them, import your clients or documents. You can book that on a monthly, bi-weekly, or even a weekly basis, whatever is convenient or works for you. We have product webinars which talk about different aspects of your TaxDome account. For example, your contact import, creating workflows as an example. We have a large library of help articles in our help center. as well as the TaxDome Academy, which is a set of online courses that are designed to build the confidence of you and your team in the different aspects of your TaxDome profile, as well as YouTube, bit of a tongue twister there, YouTube tutorials, which focus on the individual features, and also the TaxDome services, which is where our support team can actively step in and do that import process for you with regards to your contacts. So we'll move on now to the software demonstration. Just change my screen. And we're currently on the Insights page, and we're looking at TaxDome from the firm owner's perspective. On the left-hand side, we have this navigation bar where you can access the different sections of your TaxDome account. I'm going to focus primarily on the first 5 sections here, but I will address these other sections below. At the top, we have a global search where you can search for accounts, contacts, and documents. Now, when we refer to an account on TaxDome, we're talking about a business or entity that we're providing the service for. So, for example, an account could be Tesla. We talk about a contact, we're talking about an individual who we're going to be communicating with throughout that process. So for the account Tesla, we may have a contact called Elon Musk. Obviously, I also mentioned documents, so I could type in any keyword here, and it would show me those relevant documents on the tab here. Just next to the global search, we have a plus new button, which is where you can create any quick action item within TaxDome. So at the top, we could create a new account or business and a contact or individual. You could also upload a new document or a folder if you want to do a bulk upload, but remembering we also have the TaxDome drive, which facilitates that document import into your TaxDome profile. Here, where it says page, this is referring to a wiki page. Now, a wiki page is essentially an internal document that lists your standard operating procedures. So if any of your team members need a recap on how that process should be carried out, or you have an apprentice or an outsourced accountant, they can always refer to that wiki page and be kept up to date with what work they should be doing and how they should be doing it. That can be linked to the workflow, and we'll see an example of that later on. We talked about our new proposal feature. I'll give you a visual representation later on when we work through that workflow. And when I talked about communication channels, I did mention we had chats and emails. SMS is coming to TaxDome in the near future. And the major difference here is that chats are sent to the client portal, and you can also include client tasks. So you can request things like documents, you can request action items from them. For emails, you can use plain text or HTML. That will allow you to include your personal branding, things like logos. And we can also use both of these elements in the workflow platform too. So we can constantly communicate with our clients and establish that communication channel. We'll take a look at the organizer later on, that digital form that we're going to be requesting those documents and information on. As I mentioned previously, we have an active integration with Stripe for our invoicing, which you can send to your clients as a one-off payment or a recurring payment too. But if your clients prefer to pay by a check or by a manual payment, then you can process that through the icon here, and that will be sent directly to their portal too, where they can make the payment for those invoices. Briefly spoke about emails and the email sync integration, which will streamline everything through your platform. That will make it really easy for you to send emails and communicate with your clients. If any of your clients give you a quick call, you can create a note. That note will be saved directly to your CRM. So again, really convenient keeping everything together. You can create ad hoc tasks, create time entries, and a job is a term we're going to refer to multiple times during this demonstration. A job is what we refer to as one account or business that's in an automation. So for example, if we take that example of the account Tesla, let's say in my demo account here, I have a VAT workflow and my Tesla account is in that VAT workflow. That would be one job. So it gives us more of a global view as to what's going on when we look at the job dashboard. I want to give you a brief insight into the time entry page and how we can create them, because I understand that's important for some firms. So I simply click on time entry. I select the client that I would like to associate that time entry to. I can select the service that I've created on my settings page within the templates tab. That's going to populate things like the rate and other information that I've included in that template. If I've completed this work already, I could add this time entry retrospectively by toggling this on here. But let's say we just want to start one now. I've enabled the billable option, and that allows me on the invoice page to go through my time entries and check mark essentially the time entries that I have for a specific job. Then I can very easily create an invoice from that. Let's go to the bottom and add a tag. Tags on TaxDome are fully customizable, and I've created tags for the different services I offer my clients, for the different business types, and tags make it really easy to filter for time entries, accounts, or tasks on the different relevant dashboards that you're looking at. So I've typed in the service bookkeeping, so I'd like to add the bookkeeping tag. We can go to start a new timer, and that's going to appear at the top of my screen here. Now let's focus on the insights page and the top 5 here. I think before I go into more detail into these top 5 sections, I would just like to quickly show you what these bottom 5 are for. So the document section is where you can view your documents globally. Please bear in mind it is just a demo account, so some of the documents here are just going to be for trial and demonstration purposes. But by going to documents, I can see all of my clients that I have on TaxDome. By simply clicking on their names, I can see the different folder structures that I have set up for them. On the proposals and engagements letter page, that's just going to give me a global view of all the engagement letters that have been signed and sent back to me at my firm. Obviously, after Accountancy Manchester, you can tell that we had a lot of demonstrations for this client here. We're going to take a look at an example of a wiki page. As I mentioned before, wiki page is that internal document that lists our standard operating procedures. So if any of our team need a refresher on how that process should be carried out, then they can always refer back to this. I'll briefly show you the format of this. Again, just a demonstration. But going onto the page, you can include images, you can include videos, you can add as much text as you want and make it really interactive and engaging for your team members too. So it's just a small example here of the kind of wiki page you can create and then share with your team.
Sorry, just a minute. Does that apply also to, so if a particular customer has a particular way of doing something, is that where that's stored? So if you wanted some notes on the customer, so if someone was running a report or something about an individual customer, so if it wasn't generic to the practice itself, it was just generic to the customer, is there a space available in there to do it per customer, or is that just for the business, as it were?
So if I understand the question correctly, it's more of an internal note for that one client. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So of course you can create notes that are stored directly within their CRM. Wiki pages can of course be shared with clients too, but it's more of a global documentation. So for example, if, as we mentioned before, a team member, you need to refresher on how that process should be carried out. If you want to explain to your clients how to use the portal, best practices for engaging with your firm, then you can share them as a wiki page. And I can perhaps on the CRM later demonstrate where you can store the notes. Okay. On that plus new button where we create quick action items, towards the bottom, we do have the option to create the note. So again, I'll click on note, select the client that I'd like to create that note for. And once I've typed in that note or description, it'll be saved directly to their CRM.
Brilliant. Thank you.
No problem. So wiki pages, really helpful for teams. Invoice page, a great way to get an overview of the income in your practice and invoices that are paid from your clients. Got different subheadings here for the recurring invoices, manual payments, and time entries too. I was explaining before about using these time entries to create an invoice. Let me just go for a quick example and show you how you would do that. We have a type column here, and you can see that these entries are billable. So I could select all of these entries for John's Bakery, and I have the option to create the invoice at the top there. So I'll briefly show you what that looks like. And it will add all those time entries to the bottom and will automatically calculate the amount for the client. And you can send it off and then receive a notification once that payment's been made. The settings page is really where you will configure your account, edit the templates for tasks, emails, and more. It's where you can also copy over the templates from our pipeline library for the automations. That's really key. And when we talk about editing templates, this is where you would come in and really personalize these additional subheadings here, like tasks and emails, to align with how your firm comes across to your clients. It's really where the personalization in TaxDome comes in. I just see another question on the chat, Mark. Is that a new one? Happy to answer it now if it is. No, maybe it's just
no.
me.
Sorry, yeah, sorry. It was just somebody's needing to go, so it is being recorded, Sylvia. If you're still with us, and yes, I will. The recording will be going out to everybody that's registered. So yes,
brilliant. Thank you for answering that for me, Mark. So obviously the templates here. This is where you can add that customization and personalization, and obviously you can make them personalized to your firm too, which is really important. As I mentioned before, these tags are fully customizable and you can create as many as you like. I like this page because it really gives you an overview of how these tags are being used. How many pending tasks have that tag attached to it? How many completed tasks have this related tag to it? It gives you a bit of a reporting tool here and an insight into how your tags are being used, which I think is really useful. Also, with custom fields, a new introduction to TaxDome are these alternative field types. So I could create custom fields with a text format, a date format, and even a drop-down format too. So we talk about custom fields. That's how you're storing your data from your clients within the CRM. Again, fully customizable. I see TaxDome as a great tool for giving you the tools to storing your information and managing your clients in a way that's convenient for you. Moving on from the settings page, I would like to very briefly show you one of the support channels that we have available. That's the TaxDome Academy. So by clicking into here, as I mentioned before, it's a set of online courses that can help you and your team build your confidence in the platform. If I just briefly scroll down, you can see we've got different courses based on for bookkeepers, for effective team management, how to streamline exchanging documents. But if I just go into one of these workflow ones at the top, I can give you a quick taste and a feel for what these sessions look like. So you have a course introduction. We give you information about how to use that specific page, what the different features do, and how you can really streamline and make the most of the platform and TaxDome. And at the end, you'll have a little quiz which will grade you and give you an insight into how well you're getting on. I don't want to focus too much time on this because these resources are free for you to use. And by starting a free trial, which we'll share the links for at the end of this demonstration, you can explore these and get a better feel for TaxDome there. Go ahead and close this page and go back to my demo account. I'd like to focus on the insights page. This will give you a clear overview into your ongoing work in your firm. So on this team summary, I can get a very clear insight into the ongoing tasks and jobs and how they're distributed between my different team members. Very interactive and very user-friendly. That's what I really do like about TaxDome. Really fun to use, and I think it looks great. If you're using that platform 5 days a week, it's really important you do find the software engaging to work with. So again, I just want to clarify the terminology here because we're going to be referring to tasks and jobs later on too. So a task is an individual bit of work that's assigned to a team member. That could be for reviewing uploaded documents in an organizer. It could be to create a self-assessment return draft that's assigned to one of your team. A job is referring to one account in an automation, and team members can be responsible for ensuring that job reaches the end of the process. We also have a task widget below, which shows us all our tasks with an upcoming due date. We've got different statuses that we can update these tasks for. We also have an interactive pie chart here, which shows us the priority of the tasks that we currently have in our practice. And what's really, really useful about having a client portal integrated into your practice management software is it allows you to follow up on your client's activity. So here I can see all of my pending invoices. I can see all my pending information requests and organizers. As we have free e-signing on TaxDome, I can see all of my pending e-signatures here, as well as my pending proposal letters and pending approvals. We'll jump quickly now to the Inbox Plus, which is your notification center on TaxDome for all of your internal and external activity. When we talk about internal activity, we're talking about tasks. We'll take a look at some task notifications in a second. We'll talk about external activity. We're talking about your clients and the actions they're completing on their end. So when we talk about external activity, we're talking about documents being approved. We're talking about engagement letters being signed and also organizers being completed. So it gives you a great insight into what your clients are doing. And if you're wanting to check up or waiting for your client to sign an engagement letter, the Inbox Plus would be the perfect place to come and see your client activity. I want to briefly show you an email notification. Obviously, just to highlight that email sync integration. Again, it's a demo account, so it's not very active. This client has been very slow. He doesn't like to reach out to me too much. But essentially, whenever your clients go to email the address that's linked to your account, you receive these notifications where you can create tasks from these notifications. You can always stay on top of your work and your communication. Let's briefly look at the task notifications. You're going to receive task notifications for every task that's been assigned to you and when tasks are coming up to their due date. So again, a great way to stay on top of your activity and work. The calendar dashboard is a really nice page to perhaps review your tasks and jobs with respect to upcoming deadlines. I appreciate, excuse me, it's a lot to look at the page right now. But again, we want to make it really easy for you to find the information that is important. So let's say, for example, I want to find all my VAT tasks. What I can do is I can set a filter for a monthly, weekly, or daily basis. I'm going to go ahead and select the filter tasks. And I'm going to set an additional filter. Well, I could set an additional filter for tasks assigned to a team member, for tasks related to a specific account, or tasks that have been created within a pipeline, again, which is just a synonym for a workflow or automation. But to find my VAT tasks, as I mentioned before, I've created tags for all the different services I offer. So I can just go to VAT, hit apply, and we have all of our VAT tasks here. We're going to take a quick look at a task template to see what information we can add to that. And for these task templates, we can have a task assignee. We can add a priority, a status, a description where we can also communicate with our team using the @ symbol here. I can add additional tags, start and due date, obviously for deadline management. We can repeat these tasks by toggling that on there. We can attach documents and also create subtasks which allow myself and my team members to accurately follow up and see how much of that task has been completed. I'm going to go into the workflow after the CRM because I really want to give some more context to the automations that can be applied within. So on the clients page, this is essentially our CRM, and it's going to give you a list of all the clients that are currently in your practice. By scrolling across, you can see this is a fully customizable table. I can adjust the column widths, and I can also adjust what information is shown here. So these are my custom fields. By clicking on that settings icon, I can go and let TaxDome know that I'd also like to know the email, the next statement due date, SIC codes. When I apply them, they'll appear at the top here. So again, a customizable way to really organize your clients and their data. Now, I also mentioned at the beginning of this demonstration, this is the page where we apply different bulk actions. So let's say, for example, I'd like to send an email to all my self-assessment return clients. How would I go about that? Well, what I'd do is I'd go to the filter option here. I'd select a tag for self-assessment return, like so. That's going to show me all my clients with that purple self-assessment return tag. I could select them individually, or I could select them all by marking that box at the top. By clicking on more actions, you can begin to get an idea for the flexibility you have with your clients and the different ways in which you can organize them. You also notice that we have a provisional syncs with company's house button. So ideally how that would work is that for all your clients, you'd incorporate the company number, you'd mark all your clients, sync with this company's house, and all that data from the company's house API would be seamlessly integrated into the CRM. Again, really excited for that feature to come to the platform. However, in my original example, I talked about sending an email to all my self-assessment return clients. I see that option here. So I click on that notification, select a template that I've previously made on my settings page on the templates tab. We can see that we have shortcodes here, which pull in data from the CRM. That's going to personalize this email for each individual client we're going to be sending it to. I could also schedule this email for a later date and time by marking that box there and simply selecting a date and time from the page here. Now, this is just an overview page, but we can go deeper into the CRM. By doing that, we can simply click on a client's name. That will take us through to their overview tab, which is just really a breakdown of the individual subheadings that we have at the top here. So for example, we can see recently uploaded documents from the client or from ourselves. We can see ongoing tasks that I can update from the page here. We can see recently received emails. Again, jobs is referring to accounts that are currently in automations. So I can see what automations this client is in and at what stage of the process they're at, as well as the other elements below. I'll just scroll through this slowly and give you an idea for how you can organize and what information can be stored in the CRM. Now, I don't want to focus too much on the different tabs here because they're really where you can store the different organizers, invoices for each individual client. I do implore you to start your trial afterwards and really come to grips with the platform and dive in the deep end by creating a test client with your own email address. You can get a really good appreciation for how that data and information is stored here. But for now, I'm going to head to the workflow page because this is really where you're going to save the majority of your time on TaxDome. We're currently on the Pipelines tab, which is just showing me all the automations that I have set up for each individual service that I offer my clients. I could create a recurrent schedule, which is going to automatically add accounts to these processes on a date preset by me. Again, relieving yourself of that manual work of having to add accounts to those workflows. I've got a jobs dashboard. And again, this is going to be really helpful for me, giving me a global view as to what's ongoing. Let's say, for example, I want to see all of the automations that account, John's Bakery, is in. I can go to the filter option. I could go to the account and select John's Bakery and hit apply. And again, we see all of the pipelines the client is in. We see the stage at which the client is at. We can see the start and due date too. So in a couple of clicks, I see the information that's important for me and I can carry on getting on with my work. To see our work on a more granular basis, we can go to the task dashboard. By default, it's going to show me all of my tasks, but I'm going to change this to all the tasks in my firm. Let's say I want to see what my team member, Christine Parker, is currently working on and what tasks are assigned to her. What I can do is go to the filter option here. I could search for tasks that are assigned to a team member, assigned to an account, or again, that have been created in a pipeline. I want to see Christine Parker's tasks, hit apply, and we can see all of her work, subtask completion, the status, the due date if one's been added. And let's say that she's going away on holiday and I need to reassign these bookkeeping tasks. I simply need to select them, go to the edit page, and I can bulk reassign them to another team member. So really intuitive, really easy to get to grips with the platform. We're going to jump now to the pipeline. We'll take a look at a process. So I'm also conscious of the time. We've got 10 minutes remaining. So every automation on TaxDome is displayed in this Kanban board approach. And in each stage, or I should say each stage is shown by these gray boxes here. And in each stage, we can associate different automations. So when I go to add a client account to this workflow, we're going to, one, send them an organizer digital form to request their documents and information. Since they're a new client, we're going to send them a proposal letter. We're going to create a wiki page for our team. And probably most importantly, we're going to automate that client engagement by sending them an email and letting them know what's happening and where we are in that process. Again, relieving you of that admin work. I could add an account in many different ways to the workflow. I could do it from the plus new button as a bulk action on the client's page. But for simplicity, I'm going to use the button here. I type in the name of the account that I'd like to add. I could then add a team member here who'd be responsible for ensuring this job reaches the end of the process. I could also add a due date for deadline management here, but I'm happy right now. I'm going to hit add, and it's going to prompt me and say, these are the automations you're going to trigger. I'm happy too, so we can hit move. I did want to show you our mobile application. I have got the screencast set up, but we'll just see towards the end of the demonstration if we do have time to give you a small preview of that as well. We can see that the job's been added, and we're going to jump now to the client's portal and email provider to see the organizer, engagement letter, and email come through. So we're jumping from the firm's portal over to the client's portal. Just briefly show you that email that the client's received. So we're looking at this now from the client's perspective. He's received this email template. Hi, John. We're about to get started on your self-assessment return. Please complete the organizer and the engagement letter we've sent to your portal. Again, I've clicked 2 buttons, and this is what the client has received. I refresh the page, and as soon as your clients log into the platform, this is what they're going to see. A really clear, user-friendly portal where they can access the different sections of their account. If they have any questions, they can reach out via chat or book an appointment with yourself. And we can see the waiting for actions option in the center of the page, letting the client know what they need to do. We'll take a look at the organizer briefly. Now, the organizer, when we open it, is already prompting us to pre-fill this based on previous year's answers, preventing things like duplicate data entry. The format of this organizer is separated into these different sections, which make it really easy for your clients to know what information they're providing. To give you more flexibility when requesting that information, you can use different question types. For example, free entry answers, check boxes, tick boxes, and even file upload questions like we see here. Let's assume the client submitted all their information. We can go ahead and submit that organizer. We'll take a look at the proposal letter here. And as you can see, they're met with an introduction explaining what that process is. By scrolling down, they can see the terms of the agreement. I've obviously used the TaxDome logo, but here you could use your own personal branding with your logo or other images and videos too. Scroll down a little further. If you were to include the payment plan, which I haven't done in this template because it's a demonstration, that would appear just below. To sign, they type in their name, accept the terms, and we can go back to the client portal. Now I want to show you how that's impacted the workflow on the firm side. So we're going to jump back. When I refresh this page, what we're going to see is this account automatically moving to the next stage where it's going to trigger the next 2 automations for a task that's going to be automatically assigned to another team member to review the uploaded documents. And the client's going to receive another email thanking them for signing the engagement letter and for submitting the organizer. So let me go ahead and refresh the page. And the obvious advantage here is that you don't have to log in and check, has this client signed their engagement letter? Has this client completed their organizer? TaxDome's done it for you. And we can see that here. Now, the next really important feature I want to explain in this workflow is the conditional logic. And conditional logic essentially only applies automations depending on the tag that's been associated to the account. So in this next stage, we can see that it has the stage condition for the tag missing information. So only accounts with the missing information tag will enter that stage. If we take a look at John's Bakery account, by clicking on his job card, which is what we refer to as his account in the workflow here, we can see all the elements that this client has completed or that we've sent them. Again, really convenient for keeping everything together and organized. We can see that he doesn't have that missing information tag, whereas low priced goods does have that missing information tag. So when I mark that task as complete, John's Bakery, well, I'll show you a demonstration first. John's Bakery is going to jump to this stage, whereas low priced goods is going to jump into this stage. So it allows us to manage different client types within the same flow. Let me go to tasks and mark this as complete and hit save. And we can see, just as we expected, John's Bakery has jumped into that latter stage. With low priced goods, however, if I go to tasks and then mark this task as complete and hit save, it's gone into that stage there. And obviously the relevant team member would re-request that information. And once they've received everything, they can go ahead and mark that task as complete, and it will then jump to the next stage like John's Bakery. Obviously, we've used the conditional logic for the whole stage there, the whole waiting for info stage, but we can also use it for individual automations as we've done here. Now, on this prepare self-assessment draft stage, we have two automations that are the same, but they're going to be applied to different accounts. We've got two team members who are both responsible for preparing the drafts, and we have conditional logic for the task that's been assigned to Simon. Accounts with the tag Simon will have that task applied to them. And for those accounts that have the tag David, will have this task applied to them. So obviously these task templates are both assigned to either Simon or David. So the relevant team member will receive that notification on their inbox plus for that task. And if I go to both John's Bakery and low priced goods, on low priced goods, we can see that it has the tag David. And if we go to tasks, we can see that they've received the task for David. Similarly with John's Bakery, John has the tag Simon. And if we go to the tasks, we can see that he's been assigned the Simon tag. Now, I understand we have a couple of minutes left, Mark. I just want to briefly finish off this workflow. It shouldn't take me too long at all. But obviously, we're at the stage where we're preparing this draft. So let's mark that as complete. And again, it will move to the next stage. We hit save. And we can see he's now in the approval and client review step. Here we have a task that's been assigned to Christine Parker, perhaps the director or a team member higher up. And to review that task template, we can simply click on that element there. In this task template, we can see that Christine Parker is responsible for reviewing the draft tax return, for uploading it and requesting the approval. Christine Parker, let's say she's reviewed it for example's sake. Now she needs to upload the return and link it to the job card. So let's go ahead and click save. And let me demonstrate how you can attach a document to a job and have your client's activity, i.e. having your clients approve that document, trigger the movement of a job into the next stage. So I'm Christine Parker now. I've reviewed that return. I can go to plus new to upload the document, select document from my desktop. Let's say I have this draft return here. I select the return, John's Bakery, select a folder to upload it to. I've got an option here to request the approval, so I simply check that. I could add automated reminders, which can also be associated to contracts, invoices, messages, and more. And I can also link it to a job. And again, a job is just an account in a workflow, which I want to do. So I can see here that I have two jobs here for demonstrations. So I'm going to link them to both just to make sure I've linked it. I'm going to hit upload. So now it's going to upload the document to John's CRM. And if we go back to the job card here, we should see that document. The typical thing about live demonstrations, isn't it? Ideally, the document would be uploaded to their portal and you can access the document here. That approval notification would go directly to the client portal when as soon as John's Bakery would approve that document, it would then again move to the next stage of the process. I think that really concludes the demonstration because we've explained how a job moves from step to step with auto move. We've explained the different automations that could be incorporated into the workflow. And the main takeaway here is that it's fully customizable. So you can add different stages, you can move around automations, you can remove them if you think they're not relevant. Fully customizable, also including the templates too. I think I've covered everything I wanted to in this demonstration. The last thing I would just like to say is to really encourage you to start a trial to explore the platform, because we've really only scratched the iceberg for the TaxDome features that are on offer to you. When you do start a trial, I recommend copying some pipeline templates into your own library, create a test client with your own personal email, and just run through the process as a firm owner and your client, so you can really appreciate how the workflow is going to manage your work and save you time, because that's what TaxDome is really there to do. Thank you very much for joining the webinar and demonstration today. It's been a pleasure to host the webinar with the Accountants Mastermind, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Sam. So Michelle has put in the link to sign up to the free trial. And there is a few questions I just wanted to run through with you. Colin asked, are the letters of engagement regularly reviewed for changes in rules and practices notified if their letters need to be revised?
It's a really good question. With relation to the engagement letter templates or any other templates in the platform, they're customizable, and we don't have templates for letters of engagement. So essentially, you just use the wording from the engagement letter that you're currently using, incorporate that into the engagement letter template that's on TaxDome, then you can send it from TaxDome to your clients. But that would be a manual procedure to then create that engagement letter to then send it to your clients. But that's something that we're currently working on.
Excellent, thank you. I think, and as well, based on who your industry body is, I think is always a good thing to take the information from there. Excellent, thank you. So Doug asked if your software allows us to send text messages, which, as I know you've already said, is something that's going to be coming very soon. So hopefully that will help. With regards to the email, Julie asked us if it integrates with Gmail. What's the sort of integration with email? How does that look?
Yeah, really good question, Julie. If I just give you a brief overview as to how you can set that up and configure it, if I go to my firm settings. Oh, sorry, my apologies. Within my account settings, where I configure my details for my firm, my personal account, essentially you can use any email provider and link it to TaxDome. As far as I'm aware, there's not any limitations. I've used my BT address, but you can use your Gmail, Hotmail, or Outlook. I know that if you're using another provider, then you have the customizable SMTP settings. So you simply go to sync your email, input those customized SMTP settings, and it will then configure your email integration, and it will pull in all of those emails for the clients you have set up in your account.
So it only pulls in client information. Will it ignore everything else it doesn't recognize, in terms of, if I sent you an email, for example, and I'm not a client, it would just ignore that email?
Yeah, you actually touched on a really good point there, Mark, because currently, if I go to my clients page, all of the contacts that I have on my profile, you can see that we have an email linked to them.
Yeah.
And for example, emails received from these addresses would then populate in your TaxDome account. You wouldn't receive spam from other companies, as an example.
Yeah.
But we are also working on receiving emails from potential clients. So in the future, we are looking to have an additional subheading here to help you manage prospects too. So that's another feature that we're working on our roadmap.
Thank you. Georgina has asked, when is the Companies House integration planned? Sorry if I missed it. I think that's already happening, isn't it?
Yeah, no problem at all. It is due for Q4. I'm hoping it's going to be released in October, but I can keep you updated in due course.
Thank you. One of the things that I think always comes up for us is obviously moving or implementing practice management software is a reasonable sized task. And what's the onboarding and the setup? You know, what can they get from you? What help can they get from you? And what's your process? Because I know a lot of people do it slightly differently.
Yeah, again, a vital question, because that really can be a challenge for some firms. It can be quite daunting for them. For that, I would then reiterate the free and unlimited support that TaxDome offers. If I quickly just recap the support channels available to you. You can book onboarding sessions. You can have a representative from TaxDome actively helping you to set up your account, your pipelines, import your contacts. That's one option. I really want to stress it's free and unlimited. So you can book this on a monthly basis, bi-weekly, weekly basis, whatever is really convenient and works in your schedule. Got product webinars, so videos which will explain those processes. So if you don't really have a lot of time, you can always review those webinars that when you do have more availability, for example. When I talk about a large library of help articles, I really mean it. It's massive. If I just click onto it now, let's say we want to find a help article about our CRM. I can click onto CRM and you can just get an idea for all the different functionalities and support there is available. So you can either have live support in onboardings, you've got other resources available outside of those sessions. So I really just implore you to perhaps start a trial. You'll receive the link to that onboarding page and just click around, go into the academy that we looked at earlier, start a few courses. If you're having a bit of challenges understanding how a feature works on TaxDome on the platform, go into the help center. Let's say you're struggling to know how to sign a document. So I'll just type in sign into the search bar here. And I've got articles about 3 ways to use e-signing on TaxDome and other articles relating to that signing process. So really easy to navigate around that onboarding resource.
Thank you. You talked about the automations, and I may have missed this, but with regards to the automation, so if I've got one customer who does something slightly differently to the norm of our perhaps standard automation, are you able to alter it for individual customers in terms of that one automation? Is there a template that you can amend and then apply it to that customer?
Yeah, again, a fantastic question. And when we went through that workflow example, we looked at some examples of conditional logic. We looked at one example for the whole stage here. So only accounts with this tag missing information will enter this stage and have the automations applied. In the next stage, we had 2 automations for task. Essentially, that's the same task, but it's going to be, well, one's going to be assigned to Simon and the other one's going to be assigned to David. But in that example, you have one client who's perhaps different from the norm. You could have a separate task. Let's say it's client X who is more challenging than your other clients. You have that tag client X, you create an additional task with the conditional logic client X. And obviously when that client reaches that stage, because they have the relevant tag, the right task template is going to be applied and assigned to the relevant team member, which will also incorporate those specific subtasks for that individual. So this conditional logic allows you to manage different client types within the same flow. Again, we do have loads of resources on our onboarding page which help to explain that, and we can also go through that on live onboarding sessions with you.
Okay, and the other one that I had around that was if you've got so for example, if you're doing a year-end accounts and you've got, and I assume it's an automation you might have for year-end accounts, do you have to then add that to the following year? So if you've completed it, is there a what's the right word? A repeat function? Is it always going to be the same, or do you have to add it in afterwards?
Yeah, really good option. On the pipelines page, if I go back to the overall dashboard, we have this recurrent schedule, and we can set this as a default for all the clients that enter, or go a step further and create customizable schedules for each individual client. So that's how you can have the accounts automatically added to these workflows, which takes another admin work off your back. It's going to add that account to the workflow, apply those automations. If we applied it to the same workflow that we just went through, the client will automatically receive the organizer and, if applicable, the engagement letter. And then once they've been signed, completed, submitted, it will then move to the next stage. So the next time you'll hear about it is when that task has been created and assigned to you or a team member, and then you'll start working on the next step. So it really manages the flow and process.
Is there any notifications for perhaps the owners of a particular job if something gets behind? Is there anything in there So instead of the owner of the job, perhaps if you're running a job and other people are doing the work for you, or you're waiting for the customer, is there anything in place for it to tell you that it's currently running behind, or is it a manual sort of check on the dashboard?
Really good question again. Well, you can actually follow particular accounts, and by following accounts, you would then receive notifications about that account activity. If they are lagging behind, you can see this column here labeled follow.
Yeah.
I'm very engaged with my firm, so I'm following all of my clients, but you also have the option to unfollow them if you're not too interested or they're not perhaps relevant for you.
Brilliant. Okay. I've just seen another question in the chat which we missed. What integration? Sue's asked, what integrations are there with the accounting software? We
have a native integration with QuickBooks. We're working on an integration with Xero, a native integration with Xero and other tax softwares in the future. Priority is really Companies House at this time, but we really understand from obviously exhibiting at Accountancy Manchester, Accountancy London and the Digital Accountancy Show that accountants, well, I think it's just really important to have the connectivity between that accounting software and practice management to help make that more of a seamless work when you create a tax return. So we're really excited in the future to have more connectivity and more linkage between those softwares. But currently we have the native integration with QuickBooks.
Excellent, thank you. So that is, I think that's us out of the questions. Oh no, Colin's just put one in. There we go. Perfect timing, Colin. That's great. If a single client has multiple email addresses that they use to communicate with us, can these be accommodated?
Absolutely. You can incorporate different email addresses. Essentially, you just need to create an additional custom field for a second or third email. And on that contact page, you can go into the client. It will show you all the information specific to that individual, including those different email addresses. Again, it's that customizable approach that I would like to get across. You can create as many custom fields as you like. So of course, you can accommodate multiple email addresses too.
And so that would then pull that information. So if that particular client on the second or third email address emailed in, that information would get pulled into TaxDome.
That's correct.
Excellent, thank you. I will finish with a more difficult one, only on the basis that I know that we talked to obviously a lot of people around. One of the biggest questions that is always discussed is what practice management software should we use, and I think it's always a good idea for anybody that's looking to change or implement practice management software to find the top 5, the top 7 biggest things that is frustrating them about their practice that they want to improve on that practice management software will do. So with that in mind, Sam, what's the one big thing that you find a popular answer to a problem that TaxDome solves for your customers?
It's a good question. You're right, it is difficult. I think really after exhibiting at the exhibitions, Accountancy Manchester, London, after meeting with accountants and demonstrating the software, the feature that really sticks out is the workflow platform, creating that customizable process, because there's a lot of talk about automation in the practice management space, but what really is automation? How much can really be automated? We've demonstrated today features like Auto Move, which recognizes when clients complete actions on their end and will seamlessly move a job through a process. So it prevents you from constantly having to overview your work and your clients too. It really helps to take the heavy lifting from that side and really save you a lot of time. That's really the main pain point that TaxDome is overcoming, saving you time in your practice so you can use it elsewhere to benefit your practice and firm.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time again. And thank you for joining us from, I think, as Michelle said, second furthest away webinar that we've done, I believe. So you're in Stockholm at the moment, aren't you? So it wasn't quite South Africa, but I think you're the second furthest away. So thank you very much for joining us from Stockholm, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. And if anybody has any further questions, feel free to if you're watching the video, just put it in the comments below, or alternatively we can feed back to Sam and put you in touch. I think Michelle has. Brilliant. Thank you, Michelle. She's put in the links that we will share in the video and the email as well. So thank you very much for joining us, Sam, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon.
Thank you very much, Mark. And
cheers.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for watching our webinar with Sam from TaxDome. I'm sure you found it as useful as I did, learning about some of the new features, some of their existing features, and also what's coming up next for them. If you want to take advantage of the 2-week free trial, click in the description below and you will find the link. If you like the video, please click on like. And also, if you want to subscribe to our channel to ensure you don't miss any great new recordings that we produce, then please click on the subscribe now. You'll also see on the screen below somewhere some recordings that we suggest you watch next in order to run the practice that you want to be running. Thanks for watching.